everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division in the Skyline Cup Tournament. The video here is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, so let's go. For the first shot, you can see that we do have some tailwind, so I'm kind of like, should we try to get over the water here? But I changed my mind and I do go with the quarterback using a power 1 ball, which is the Quasar max backspin. I'm gonna bounce myself just nicely over there to the fairway. I would say, now I'm using just max backspin, I would say use combine with as much backspin as possible, use as much side spin to the right possible as well. The reason I'm not trying to go over on the left there is there is 3 things that could happen. 1, we do go short and have a very bad bounce. We're either be in the bunker or we'll go into the water. 2, we are going to be having the trees in our face. 3, we're going to roll over the complete fairway and roll into the rough and have a rough iron towards the pin. And now I'm mentioning like the fourth way would be that we roll up and we do have an open shot towards the pin. And giving myself like less than 50% chance in my book as a start at least to make that power slice in a good way, then I'm gonna stay away. Then I'm gonna try to dial this shot in from distance instead, giving myself almost a straight tailwind towards the pin, which I feel is always going to be a little bit easier than even playing with a crosswind. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. I don't blame you for trying to make a power slice, but if you do want to have 100% opportunity every single time, you're going to choose to play to the right side. So with the drive, 10% extra, that's super important. For the second shot here, we are going to use a Goliath. And the Goliath, as you can see here, we're going to use the Goliath in medium distance and we're going to add 10%. And here you can see that I'm trying to maybe see if can we play this one without any side spin and to just go straight at the pin. That would be ultimate, but you can see how close the second bounce is to show that it's gonna bounce in the rough. And that's definitely not something that we do want to do. So I think after been studying this shot a little bit is to use 2 to 3 bars of side spin to the left to put ourselves more to the right with our landing position to give our ball more room so we can go like, so we do great proof our shot, in my opinion. 10% extra for the second shot, and as I said, 10% for the drive as well. Hole number 2, par 3, and here we're also going to over adjust 10%, and that's going to be, in my book, super important on this one. Because here the ball is, oh my god, I didn't even see this before, that our opponent is actually trying this little island there to the right. Don't do that, please. We're going to use the middle of the fairway. We're going to use a sniper that gives us a decent amount of backspin. If you do not have a sniper with at least the max backspin, sorry, at least a 4.5 bar backspin, then you're going to play with the Guardian to give you that backspin, as it's better to give yourself a lot more control on this one to be able to get it close towards the pin and hopefully a drop or 2. 7.1, and I'm playing with a Quasar ball. We are very close to max distance here, and you can see that I want to use the part in between the shadows from the trees there as a reference, or like as a spot. But you can see that we do need to back up a little bit because otherwise we're gonna go too long. You can also see that I'm using a couple of bars of side spin to the right because the ball is gonna get a natural kick down out to the left, and there's 2 things that's going to happen here now. It's that 1, we are going to bounce too much to the left and we're gonna go and gain too much distance. So the way to compensate for that is that we do need to back up, let the tip of the ball guideline show that we're gonna end before the pin, approximately 1 square, and we do need to make the tip of the ball guideline also show that we're gonna miss the cup around 1 square to the right of the pin to be able to compensate for the bounce that we are going to get. Hole number 3, here it's nothing extra for the drive. Weird that we do have that on the par 5, but yes, it's true. Power 3 ball, very important, and now we are going to play up there to the left. And the thing that we're gonna do there is that we're gonna look for the second bounce to give ourselves a nice visual view for it to bounce before the rough, and then with the third bounce and the roll is going to be over, you see, first bounce, second bounce, and then over to the fairway, and then it's going to roll. If you do make that shot without cutting the rough in any form, you're going to have no problem to reach with the sniper whatsoever, which is perfect. But if you do cut the rough, you're going to have to most likely overpower the sniper just a tiny little bit, but still has to go with overpower, or you will have to play with the big dog or the cataclysm that gives you more distance. There is going to be players wondering, why can't we play on the right side instead? The reason I'm not doing that is because the curl with this type of wind ain't enough on playing with an extra mile level 7. So the thing that you will have to have is that you would have to have a club that gives you a minimum of 60 in curl in stat. In that way you can reach over to the right side and you can have more of a straight type of shot towards the pin from there. But in the end, the only club, if you're not having like an Apocalypse level 3 plus, or you're having an extra mile 8, then it's going to be a quarterback. But the quarterback ain't going to be used in my book until you have it in level 9 or level 10, because before that you're not having enough topspin, because you need 4.5 or 5 bars topspin to be able to play that shot there down to the right. Now you can see we are approaching from the left, so we're gonna go back to that type of route. 10% downhill for the shot here, and the ball is gonna bounce very nicely using 3 bars of topspin. And in the end, we're coming in a little bit too hot. We need to think about that. We don't want to come in too hot, because if we do go and get the ball to the pin, we're definitely going to have we're gonna be mad if we hit the pin and bounce off or something like that. So 2.5 bar topspin, that's gonna be fine. Hole number 4, and here it's all about to find the correct spin adjustment. I think we have found it, honestly. We're gonna play 2.5 bar backspin, and we're gonna play as much side spin to the right as well possible, which is going to be 4.5 bars. So 3 bars back, 4.5 bar side spin to the right. Red ring by the rough line, both at the top and also to the right. That's a very lovely reference. Then we're going to play medium distance with a 20% over adjustment. And the thing that you can see there in the end, once I adjust it down into the sand, then we need to push up our target in the bunker approximately 1 ring to compensate for the loss of distance we get while going from a higher point to a lower point. But now you can see we missed to the right, and I was like, in the beginning said like I think we found the right spin adjustment. No, we haven't. So we do need to play with more side spin, and that we can do it in 2 ways. We can either choose to play with a katana, gives us side spin 3, or we play with kingmaker, which gives us also side spin 3. And then we play, instead of 4.5, we play 6 bar side spin, and then take our shot in the exact same way as we are doing now. Or we're going to apply a tiny bit of curl to the right with using the same type of side spin, the 4.5 bars as shown here in the example. What to decide there, it's up to you to decide, because both of the ways will work. It's only for you to decide, can you replicate the curl in the exact same way as you can replicate using 6 bar side spin? Up to you to decide if you can do that. Then you can choose it from there. Hole number 5. Hole number 5 is going to be a must eagle. And I say that now, and I'm gonna say that in the other divisions as well. Might not for rookie division, but for any other type of division, pro, expert, master, it's going to be a must eagle. And the reason for that is that we're gonna get so close, and the green is so forgiving, and especially when we do have the dunk in our, in our setups, then that's definitely going to be a very good possibility in my opinion. Extra mile level 7, katana, max side spin to the left, and we're going to use 4.5 bar top spin. We're also going to use approximately 75% of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the left in curl, and that's gonna get our ball to bounce and roll very, very nicely, and we're going to end up in a yardage which is gonna be 357. And 357 is going to be super important to write down, because that's how you dial in shot from distance, especially when you play with either a short iron or with a long iron. We know that the shot got to 357. Now we're going to see how we're going to make the approach shot. So it doesn't really matter now if we're going to miss or we're going to drop it, because we will nonetheless come very close to being able to dial in the shot from that type of distance. To be able now to take away all the bumpy parts and stuff, and to be able to get a double chance for the eagle here, then I would suggest you to go for the dunk. And I understand that making a dunk, if you haven't done it before, is gonna be tough, and then you might want to just play it regularly. But I think the dunk has a great value on this hole here, because even if you miss to either side of the pin, the ball is going to use the slope of the back of the green to let the ball go up, and it's gonna fall down. And if you're lucky, you're gonna get that ball in the hole, even if you missed your dunk by over or under adjusted, which is a pretty fun thing to just have just have in mind. I'm aiming for the back of the cup with, you can see the blue arrows there should be at the back of the cup, and then I'm using a 10% over adjustment here. And the thing that I'm doing here is that I'm playing this one in between medium and maximum distance, which you will be able to see me miss to the left of the pin, which means that I over adjusted my shot. So the thing that I would do is to play this one medium distance instead. But look how close it is for the ball when it rolls down to get the ball in the hole. And believe me, that has happened to me 2 times in the last tournament we had this one, when I tried to go for the dunk, missed it, and the ball dropped in the hole anyway, which is a pretty, it's once again, it's luck, but we'll take it. Hole number 6. Red ring by the rough line to the right in max distance with a power 2 ball. The max distance is the plus 11 yard mark with a katana 3.5 bar topspin. And we're going to go with as much side spin to the right possible. The thing that's going to happen here though is that I'm going to great shot this one to the right. But I think it's important to show you here with this technical adjustment that even if we do hit it great right, we're still, and a major great right, we're still gonna bounce in the rough and roll out and still have a shot for the green. Not the best shot though, absolutely not, because it's going to be a problem for us to dial it in from this distance, as we do lose approximately like 20 yards when we do hit that rough. So what to do different than in our drive? Nothing really. Hit perfect. Perfect, great left should most likely be no problem. Great right will cut the rough and roll out. And then you can decide, if you normally hit a lot of shots great right, then it could be maybe better for you to play with the big dog or with the cataclysm for the second club, so you're not having any distance problems. Because that could be a problem, you know, if you hit great right in that hole. You're gonna see that now. The drive as well, 5% downhill, so we need to over adjust slightly, not much, but slightly. Now, hole shot number 2, and here you can see we have room to reach with our sniper, even if we are only having a power 2 ball. I didn't really think that was possible while bouncing in the rough like I did at the start. Using 4 bars backspin here, and now I stretch out. It's because I do want to be able to see where is going to be my second bounce. From that distance, I'm eyeballing the amount of rings that I'm gonna get with my sniper, and then try to look at how many rings of overpower do I need to use. Very tough shot, and the only plan for me here is to not get this ball in the hole, get it to the green. Be happy with that you actually saved the eagle in a very nice way. And then we go to hole number 7. The adjustment as well for the second shot there is going to be 10% uphill. So you need to under adjust. Oh my god, my wording here is terrible. Under adjust that shot 10%. Now we're going to play with our Goliath here. I'm gonna play with a power 1 ball. So going back to the power 1 ball here, when it is this par 3, straight tailwind here, using the red ring by the rough line to the right, going to play it medium distance with a 10% over adjustment. No curl whatsoever. We are using the side spin for that, and you will be able to see here now that we bounce nicely and we're coming in pretty nicely here towards the pin. Miss it around 1 square to the right of the pin. ish, 1.5 square. So the only thing to do there is to play the same type of shot. Instead of using the 4.5 bar side spin to the right, you will use 4 bars of side spin to the right instead. Take away that final half a bar of side spin there to the left, and then you're gonna be closer, and hopefully you're gonna get that ball to drop some of the times. This is not going to be a consistent hole-in-one because there is a lot of things that can happen going towards the pin, and you can see here how bumpy it is. If you take a look at or if you rewind a little bit in the video, when you take a look at the ball guideline while going back, forth, or left to right, that's going to be a very inconsistent ball guideline to rely on. So therefore it is, in my opinion, better to back up a little bit, use the spot that I'm using there, so we're not relying on too many bounces, too many slopes and stuff like that. So this is once again not going to be a general hole-in-one hole in any form. Take the birdie, don't be mad about that, it's just how it is, and then focus instead on the tougher hole that we're gonna come to now. Hole number 8, power 3 ball, max side spin to the left, and I'm also going to use 2 bars of topspin. I'm not going to use more than 2. And now I'm gonna stretch out, do the same type of shot that I made on the approach on hole number 6, and stretch out, adjust my reins to see where the ball is gonna bounce, combined with see how much overpower. Just using a smidge of overpower, but using too much curl. So the thing that happens is that I roll into the rough and I roll down to the fairway. The thing that happens now though is that I'm gonna have no problem really to reach for the green. It's gonna have to be slightly overpowered, but it's still not gonna be a problem because I'm using a power 3 ball, and that's why a power 3 ball once again is very useful. You could play with the big dog, you could play with the cataclysm for the second shot to just make sure that you do have the distance for your second shot if you cut the rough like I do. But what was the problem with the drive then? It was a little bit too much curl and also great left. So use just a smidge of curl to the left and make sure that you're not hitting great left, rather hit great right, and then that's gonna be fine. You can see here with the sniper, power 3 ball, max side spin to the left, and here it is important to have in mind that if you use a top spin, the ball is most likely gonna roll over the complete green. So instead of using top spin to get it to bounce up and roll over the green, we're going to use a tiny bit of backspin and then go with overpower instead. Use the wind, and then we're going to get the ball to stop. Even if we would be making a bad shot here, which we will hit a massively great right here, and then it's still gonna be able to, oh my god, it was a super bad great, and it's still going to be able to stop here nicely without rolling too far. It's gonna be a safe birdie here with our putter, but in the end not the most excellent way to play this hole, but hopefully you did see, and I want to be able to bundle in videos like this so you see, and also being for me able to tell you what to do in these type of situation, because this is going to be a hole where a lot of players is going to struggle in making that drive consistent, and you're not going to be alone. And it is important though what you do after you mess up, or what do you do when you make a good drive, because both is going to happen, because it's an inconsistent one. Hole number 9, full blast, all in! Maxed overpower, power 5 ball, extra mile level 7. You use the driver that gives you the most distance, the most topspin, and then combine with a power 5 ball. And then I'm using half a ball of curl to the left because I want the ball to go as much to the fairway as possible. But in the end I know that my ball most likely gonna bounce into the rough there on top as it did there. I'm kind of counting with it, but with a tailwind and a power 5 ball we're gonna have no problem to bounce ourselves towards the pin and take our eagle. This is not going to be a general what can I say, this is not going to be a general chance for an albatross. Here we're gonna have to save ourselves many of the times for the eagle instead of getting the birdie. So have that in mind, that we're playing it aggressive from the start to take ourselves away from the obstacles that is there due to that we're having tailwind. The drive otherwise is placed 25% downhill if you do try to bounce before the rough line. Minimum power 3 ball, but having a power 3 ball, you most likely won't be reaching over the rough. Not in a super good way though, if you're not having like a club that gives you maybe a 240 yards distance, like an Apoc 5 Plus, which not many players in Pro is having. And you know, if you cut the rough and roll out, you're gonna have a problem with getting the distance. So power 5 ball here, hopefully you have won some in the golden shot, and then that's gonna be super helpful while doing this. You can see I'm making a normal shot just with topspin, bouncing myself towards the pin here, taking a very easy eagle in there, even though we got into the rough. So very strange hole, two very tough hole to end up with, hole number 8 and hole number 9. It's only to take the birdie, it's only to take the eagle, and you know, of emphasis with the word only. So Pro Division, we're gonna see a general score of minus 11 and 12 on this one on 9 holes. So I think to be able to win, you need to get up to 27, 28, 29, depending on the bracket. Tough tournament in my opinion, if you do not have the option to play with power 3 balls and also a power 5 ball in the end, because some of the holes needs distance, and to be able to have a shot for something extra on those holes, we do need a power 3 ball with our sniper. Otherwise we'll have to play with a wood club that gives us more distance than the sniper from the beginning. If you do have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and also if you do want to get the updated text guides for the Skyline Cup Tournament and Pro Division or every other division, sign up on patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Timestamps in the video description as well. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Good luck in the Skyline Cup Tournament.